Women don't love you because you're handsome, nor because you're rich, nor because you can play the guitar with your teeth or read philosophy books in Latin. What truly moves them is something you can't see in the mirror, nor buy with a credit card. The feeling you create. Some men pass through their lives like a gust of wind, rushing in, rushing out, leaving behind just a bit of dust. But there are others who, with just a timely glance or a silence at the right moment, carve themselves into a woman's mind like an ink stain, the kind that's waterproof, fade-resistant, and forget-resistant. Love to a woman is not some math equation like X = handsome plus Y = rich, therefore love immediately. No, it's a symphony of emotions where every touch, every pause, every smile must hit the right note. Play it wrong, and even if you solo like a guitar prodigy, it will still sound like noise. And if you still think that buying bigger bouquets, driving fancier cars, or hitting the gym harder will win her heart, then sadly, you're playing rock music at a classical ball. Women don't love what you have. They love what they feel when they're with you. If you can't create the right feeling, then no matter how handsome you are, handsome enough to make statues jealous, you'll still just be a walking statue. Part 1. Love is a feeling, not reason or logic. There's something people often overlook when it comes to a woman's love. It isn't a logical equation, nor is it a beauty contest or a showcase of possessions. Love to them is a kind of experience, and emotion is at the center of that experience. A man can be tall, handsome, and successful, but if he doesn't stir emotions within a woman, all of that is just like a beautiful painting that's never been hung on a wall. Perhaps you've seen a man who seems very ordinary, nothing particularly special, yet he's always surrounded by curious glances and women who miss him. That's not a coincidence. He, intentionally or not, awakens something inside them. A feeling hard to name, but strong enough to make them return. Think of him, smile to themselves, and feel confused again. That's what people call an emotional imprint. When your presence leaves a unique emotional experience in someone's mind, something that cannot be replaced by words or gifts. A simple story. A girl once shared that the man she remembers the most wasn't someone who talked a lot, but someone who once held her hand tightly as she stumbled across a crowded street. No flowers, no grand promises, just a small action at the right moment that sparked a sense of protection and care, right where she lacked it most. Love doesn't begin with words, but with a moment like that. What makes the difference is not trying to do something extraordinary, but being able to create an extraordinary feeling in the most ordinary situations. Feelings don't come from logic, but from the energy you carry. Sincerity, undivided presence, eyes that know how to listen. Sometimes these small things move the heart more than the most eloquent words. And because emotion is the core, women are easily touched by those who know how to create a story, not through words, but through the way they live. Are you living in a way that makes others remember you, or are you merely existing, drifting by without leaving any trace? That's why a woman might leave the perfect man to follow someone who confuses her, but whom she can't stop thinking about. The first one may do everything right, but the second one makes her feel everything. Between right and real, women will always choose what stirs their soul. So the question isn't, am I handsome enough? Am I rich enough? But rather, can I touch the world inside her? When you understand that, love is no longer a maze, but a piece of music. You just need to learn how to listen to its melody. Part 2. Anticipation and mystery. The flame of attraction. Attraction, in the emotional world of women, doesn't come from anything obvious or measurable. It's like a cool breeze on a summer afternoon. You can't see it, but you can't deny that it moves you. For women, attraction often doesn't lie in what's stable or predictable. It arises from the very feelings of incompleteness, from suspense, from moments of hesitation and uncertainty. When a man is too easily accessible, too available, too transparent. That's exactly when the part of a woman that longs to discover, to wait, to dream, begins to fade away. There are men who don't show up every day, don't reply to messages instantly, don't chase to please, yet they are the ones women think about the most, because they give the other person a sense that he might show up or he might not. But when he does, there's always a reason. And it's that uncertainty that stirs up a story inside a woman's heart. A story she can't stop imagining, can't easily conclude, can't stop being drawn into. Once, someone shared that she was attracted to a man she simply couldn't read. He wasn't overly eager, but he wasn't cold either. At times he made her laugh like a child, but at other times he disappeared for days without a single explanation. She had been angry, confused, constantly asking herself, what is he thinking? But it was that very confusion that made her remember him, made her want to understand, want to get closer. And then she realized, in a world full of predictable and boring men, he was a mystery worth holding on to. Not everyone understands this. Many people think love means always being there, always sharing every thought, proving loyalty by never making the other person doubt. But reality is more complicated. A little absence, a little distance at the right time can make emotions deeper, can make the next encounter something to look forward to. Attraction isn't constant presence, it's presence at the right moment. What's important is that you don't fake it. Don't create distance as a cheap strategy. Women might not be able to explain it, but they can feel when something is fake. The issue isn't whether you disappear or show up. It's whether, when you're there, you're truly present with your heart. Real mystery doesn't lie in silence. It lies in depth, in whether she feels there's still an unexplored world inside you. That world doesn't need to be complicated, doesn't need to be an act. It just needs to be real. And sometimes it's that very truth, quietly kept, that becomes the most attractive thing of all. Part 3. Strength is not loud. It's standing firm in the storm. Not everyone truly understands the difference between a kind man and a strong man. Kindness can be learned through gentle words, polite gestures, and timely nods. But strength is something that can't be faked. It's not about muscles or a deep voice. It's something within, a backbone of the soul, which makes a woman feel that no matter how the world outside shakes, he will still stand firm. Women don't need someone who agrees with everything they say, nor do they need someone to sit and nod for hours just to show empathy. They need someone who can be an anchor, especially when they're unsteady. Perhaps they don't even realize this themselves, but their instincts seek out a man who doesn't panic when they're angry, who doesn't get flustered when they cry, and who doesn't get swept away by their emotional storms. A girl once shared that she loved a man who drove her crazy because he never reacted the way she expected. When she got angry, he didn't rush to apologize with desperate words, nor did he walk away like someone afraid of conflict. He simply looked at her, said nothing, and stayed, calm, like a still lake. In that moment she realized, for the first time, she was no longer the center of every storm. He remained unshaken, and she felt held. That's the point many men don't understand. They believe that the more they yield, the more sensitive they are, the more they try to help, the more women will appreciate and love them. But appreciation is not love, and pity is not desire. Women want to admire the man they're with, not become a mother figure to him. Deep down, they know this world is harsh, full of pressure and uncertainty. They don't need another insecure man to share the burden with. They need someone to lean on, not someone they have to carry. The ideal man is not the one who's never weak, but the one who, even in weakness, doesn't lose direction, who even in pain doesn't lose his essence. A woman's love isn't just a response to the present, it's a feeling for the future. When she looks at you, she's not only asking, "Do you love me today?" but also, "Will you stand firm when life falls apart? Can I trust you when I no longer have the strength to trust?" If you can answer that, not with words, but with the way you live, then you won't need to convince her of anything. She will stay, not because of what you say, but because of the man you are. Part 4. Emotional control, the art of making a difference. Women love through emotion, but that doesn't mean they love calm predictability. On the contrary, what makes them remember a man forever is not overly safe familiarity, but the unexpected feelings he brings. Attraction doesn't come from repetition. It comes from those moments that throw the heart off balance, that suddenly shift the world, even if just through a glance, a gesture, or a well-timed silence. There's an interesting truth. A woman will quickly forget the things you did that were correct, reasonable, or even perfect. But she will remember for a long time the feelings you made her experience. She'll remember how you made her laugh on a tiring day, the way you looked at her with meaning in a crowded room, the moment you suddenly fell silent right when she thought you'd speak. Those subtle contrasts, when created naturally, carry more weight than any love confession. A man who knows how to control his emotions isn't someone who's cold or deliberately distant. He simply understands this. If you want someone to truly feel you, you need to give yourself space to breathe, to observe, and to choose the right moment to appear, like a melody played in rhythm. He doesn't give everything at once, nor does he hold back as a game. He just knows what is rare is treasured more, and predictability is the enemy of emotion. A girl once said that the man she remembers most wasn't someone who texted her every night, but someone who once sent her a single message that stayed in her mind for days. "I like the way you don't try to impress." That sentence wasn't just a compliment. It was a door that opened a new way for her to see herself. And him. After that, every time they met, she carried a little anticipation, a little wonder, a little longing that hadn't yet been answered. When you become too predictable, you're no longer a journey. You become a marked map. Women don't need to live in constant uncertainty, but they do need a little mystery to keep love from going cold. Not by pretending or playing hide and seek, but by knowing how to choose when and how to show up. Being present doesn't mean exposing your entire self, just as silence doesn't mean a lack of care. It's a way of speaking through depth. What makes a man unforgettable isn't what he has to offer, but the way he makes a woman feel like she's discovering a deeper part of herself whenever she's with him. And that is what makes her want to come back. Not because he's better, but because he's different. Part 5. The feeling of safety. The irreplaceable foundation. There's something women don't say out loud but always seek, the feeling of safety. Not the safety of a solid lock or a house with a roof, but the peace of the soul. It's when they feel that no matter how chaotic the outside world becomes, this man will be steady enough for them to lean on, even without promises. Because for women, emotions are ever-changing, and because they know how fragile they can be, they crave stability in the man. A stability that doesn't come from action, but from energy. The kind of man who can make a woman stay for the long term isn't the one who solves all her problems, but the one who doesn't get swept away when she's falling apart. When a woman's emotions rise and fall like waves, she doesn't need another sailor who panics. She needs someone steady at the helm. Everyone has moments of losing control, of feeling weak, of being full of contradictions. Women aren't afraid of falling into that state. What they fear is being left alone or becoming a burden when they do. A girl once shared that what made her choose to stay with a man wasn't that he always made her happy, but that once, when she cried uncontrollably in front of him, saying all kinds of irrational things, he didn't explain, didn't try to fix it, and didn't walk away. He just handed her a glass of water, sat beside her in silence, and waited for her to calm down. When she asked later, "Didn't that bother you?" he simply smiled. Everyone has moments like that. That sentence touched her more than any declaration of love. Because for the first time, she didn't have to be strong to be loved. The man who's truly attractive is the one who doesn't react based on fleeting emotions, who isn't controlled by the drama of the moment. He doesn't run from emotion, nor does he try to fix or impose solutions. He simply shows up, steady enough to make her feel she's not alone. That calmness is what truly soothes a woman, not promises or clever reasoning. Sometimes, all it takes is an unwavering gaze when she's feeling fragile, a simple yet firm sentence when she's filled with doubt, to make her stay. Women don't ask for a perfect man. They just need one who doesn't disappear when they're falling apart. No one can guarantee never being hurt, but when a woman feels that someone won't leave when she's at her messiest, she won't let go easily. Lasting love isn't built on happy days, but on how two people face the worst ones. And if you are someone who can stand firm, not just when everything's good, but when everything is falling apart, then you don't need to prove anything else. Because to a woman, that's what's truly worth trusting. Conclusion. In the end, women don't fall for the perfect man. They fall for the one who makes them feel real, safe, and desired. A man who knows how to stir emotions, stay silent when needed, and remain unshaken in the storm. Love to them doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be deep enough to reach the most fragile parts of their hearts. And if you can do that, not with tricks, but with true strength, then you won't have to win her heart. She will come to you and stay.